All right, back at you one more time. Still talking about Harry Potter 3 episodes in a row, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me, Ian here. We've got my beautiful wife, Erica.
Hi.
And one more time, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the one, the blonde, Malfoy.
What's up?
Yep, he's still here.
No, please stop clapping. It's fine.
They love you, they love you. So, we've talked about the movies. We've talked about the books. Now we're going to talk about the newest movie transitioning into American wizardry. We're still talking about the Harry Potter universe.
So first things first, how do you say it? Ilvermorny? Is that
Ilvermorny.
right?
Ilvermorny, yes.
We've all been sorted.
Yes.
So.
And real quick before we get into that, my Pottermore account disappeared somehow. I don't know how. So I retook the sorting hat for my Hogwarts house, and I do not agree. I am salty.
Just like that latte that
Yeah.
you are, because you're a basic bitch.
Because I am a basic, magical bitch. I got resorted into Gryffindor. Anybody who knows me, you know that that's wrong.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me, I said it in the last one, I said it in the first one. I'm a Hufflepuff. I've accepted it.
Well, don't sound so defeated.
I'm not. I'm saying
It took me a long time to come to terms with my illness.
It did though. I wanted so badly to be a Ravenclaw, but I like you said, I eventually understood that I'd be the dude locked out of the common room all the time.
Yeah, man, your wit is not beyond measure.
Exactly. I'm loyal. I'm not good at finding things, but that's okay.
Yeah. But now you get to be, the cool guys.
I don't want to be the cool guy.
The high school jocks.
I want to be a badger.
I'm pretty sure their algorithm is messed up, so.
Yeah, no, the new test sucks.
Yeah, the new test is bad and they should feel bad. That's all I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, so Ilvermorny.
Ilvermorny.
I guess we can go around and talk about our houses, but before we do that, did you guys read like the backstory piece that she did?
Yes.
Yes.
How did you feel about it?
Did we?
I'm not sure I liked it.
I didn't really care for it. I mean, there's a lot of cool information, but it felt forced, especially the naming of the houses. And, what's his name?
Do we need one more James?
I mean, it's a common British name, right?
But do we need one more James? He couldn't have been like a Henry.
I don't know. He's James, though.
He couldn't have been an Elliot.
I think that adds to the reason why I wasn't all that impressed with it, because she more or less made an American Hogwarts, like quotations Hogwarts there, because it's its own school. I mean, other than the naming and the creation of it, it's its own thing. She more than blatantly says, "Oh, it's like Hogwarts," but in America. So it almost felt lazy. Like the thing of like, oh, the school that all my family went to was Hogwarts, and I really liked it, so we're gonna steal that model. I get that maybe that would be a way that they would what's her name? The immigrant who found Ilvermorny. I could see how that would be an idea of like, oh, that's familiar. That's where magic school is that I know of. Let's just do it here. But as an author creating that, like, you could have done something cooler.
Yeah. I want to come back to Ilvermorny. Because I feel like there's other things we need to talk about that kind of bleed into the acceptance of magic in North America.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to keep talking about Ilvermorny.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, just because one of the beasts bleeds into Ilvermorny and we get to kind of talk about it that way. Fantastic Beasts.
You're right.
And where to find them.
What did you guys think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. It
I
was
did
a
too.
lot of fun. It's not what I expected, but in a good way. Like, so when I first heard about the movie, I was like, okay, Fantastic Beasts. Like, it was like a textbook. It was, had some cool information, but how are they going to make that into a story?
Right.
And the whole thing with Newt having all these magical creatures, and then
In his Mary Poppins bag.
Mary Poppins bag,
Yeah.
and his adventures in New York. I thought that was really cool, and it wasn't what I expected, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it. It gave me all the right feels at all the right times.
Right. Well, okay, so the thing that I enjoyed about it that a lot of the reviews that I saw for it didn't, and I can appreciate why, but the idea that... So Steve Kloves wrote most of the scripts for the original, and this one, J.K. wrote the script. And the script, the structure of the story, how it's like two separate things that like serendipitously come together at the end, and then you have this like single conclusion. It just feels like how the Harry Potter books work. you know? Mm-hmm. So watching the movie, I was like, I can feel that she wrote this. Like, this feels like I'm reading the book, even though I'm just watching this movie. So the structure of the movie just felt familiar and nice. I guess I could see the complaints, because, like, the pacing at the very beginning of the movie is, like, it takes a little bit to get going, and then it's like a sprint to the finish.
I liked what's his face. The I guess he's a nomad.
Yeah, Kowalski.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
He was probably my
He's
favorite
the
character.
best character in the movie.
I like Queenie a lot too.
Queenie's cool. I liked Kowalski just because the wonder and the
He's like a
sheer,
child.
and the sheer amazement. It's the feeling that I guarantee we all had experiencing the Wizarding World the first
And that's
time.
his job. That's what his character is built for. But he also, even though he's supposed to be the surrogate for us, he still happens to be his own character that everyone just enjoys the hell out of.
He was great comic relief.
Yeah.
He was a great moral compass.
And
Yeah.
it broke my heart when they had to wipe his memory, because they had to. They had no choice.
Yeah.
It broke my heart.
It broke my heart that he did that, but I loved that he kept just enough to be able to make magic themed pastries.
Well, yeah, because so the end, the Thunderbird goes up, starts the storm, and then the little, I forget what it was called, swooping evil, the like pus or whatever that it extracts. It gets rid of bad memories.
Mm-hmm.
So the rain comes down and erases pretty much everybody's experience from the movie, because it's associated with a bad thing that happened. They're all scared. There's wizards. There's crazy shit blowing up. So all of the things associated with those emotions get erased. But all the good things stay. So the guy who was trying to expose wizards and all that stuff, probably going to remember it, because that's a positive thing. That's his new ambition. Jacob gets to remember all the fun little designs for his like pastries, and he kind of remembers Queenie, and that's why he rubs his head at the end, because those are positive things.
Like that little moment at the end when she goes into his shop and they make eye contact is like, of course she remembers him, but he
Right.
doesn't, and just like that chemistry between them, you can just see it just with that look.
I'd like to believe that there was still a relationship there that...
I'm sure it is. They've said that Newt might not be the main character in every one of the 5 movies, but he will be in the next one. His like character, the backstory before these movies were made, it's already established that his wife is Tina. If you had known that information going into the movie, and then you meet Tina Goldstein, and you're like, oh shit, that's his wife.
Mhm.
I know where this is going. So she should be involved, if not just at the very end they meet up again. But she should be involved just as much as Newt is, I would think. And then there were teases for the Lestrange family, because he had a crush on...
I don't think it was even a crush. I think there was a relationship there.
Well, it was it was a destructive relationship. I think it has ties to why he was expelled. Yeah, there's a lot of small things, just like in the books. Details that you're like, oh, that's really cool, and then they pay off later.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and you see them, you're like, oh man, that's amazing. Again, it's J.K. Rowling, man.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about Eddie Redmayne as Newt?
I thought he did a really good job.
Like, I love him in general. Like, I think he's a great actor.
Don't lie,
And
you think he's cute.
he's cute. He's really cute.
He's a good-looking guy.
He hasn't achieved Hunksicle yet.
No, he's not a hunksicle. He's cute.
I don't think he'll ever achieve Hunksicle.
No.
Well, I mean, if we're doing a point scale, like, he gets bonus points just because he's British.
Yeah.
The way they speak, it's just so good.
Yeah, but he's still competing with the likes of, like, Chris Evans. He's a Hunksicle.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a British accent.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens. He's a Hunksicle.
The Beast, man.
Yeah.
And Andy has a British accent.
Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt, not English, but still a Hunksicle.
Chris Pratt is just a unique individual, though.
But is he not a Hunksicle?
He's a good-looking dude.
Subtitle for this video is Hunksicles on Ice.
Nice.
We could play a game. The audience can play along. Drink every time Ian says Hunksicle. If you're not in the hospital by the end of this video,
Then you're done.
yeah, you're doing it wrong.
If you're not already smashed,
Yeah.
go back, rewind it. But yeah, Eddie Redmayne did a really good job.
A lot of the complaints that I heard were the way he was speaking. He made the character choice of Newt's very, I guess, anxious around human beings, and then he loosens up when he's around the animals, which showed on the screen, I think.
Okay.
But a lot of people complain that when he's around people, that anxiety and then the social discomfort manifests into him kind of like mumbling and like going inside of himself and not really projecting what he's trying to say. I saw a lot of complaints that like certain times in the movie they had no clue what he was saying because he just kind of mumbles the words and they're like,
Subtitles, please.
Yeah.
What's the
I speak your language, but subtitle that shit.
What's the line from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka? Oh, I really can't understand you when you mumble. You really must speak up. Something like that.
Well, regardless of that, transition to Johnny Depp, as you brought him up. What'd you think of the reveal?
I thought the whole, like, what was his name? Graves?
Yeah.
Really being Grindelwald, that was really cool. But I don't like Johnny Depp as a casting choice. I just felt like they threw him in there like, oh, hey, you need some work. You have bad PR right now. Be in this movie.
Did Tim Burton work on this movie at all?
No, no.
That would explain why that would explain why it took so long for Johnny Depp to find his way in, even though his wife, not Johnny Depp's wife, but Tim Burton's wife, has been in the main series.
Well, okay. No, I see your point. I don't know. Like, I was more upset at the reveal just because Colin Farrell did such a great job. And that reveal was basically saying, well, even if you liked him, he's not going to be around anymore.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a bummer.
I would have rather have him be in the other movies than Johnny Depp.
I would really rather it be Colin Farrell is Grindelwald.
Yeah, which would have been cool.
So it was just some sort of illusion.
He could have just been a guy who was in league with Grindelwald, and then he could just be a part of the story. He fucking earned it. Like,
he did a really good job.
One of the better parts of this movie, for sure. Like, his whole subplot with Credence.
Good old Ezra Miller.
God, I love Ezra Miller. He's
He's
so good.
He was so good.
And you wanted nothing but to just like give him a hug the whole time.
Well, the cool thing with that subplot, right, is it starts off and Graves goes up to him and he's just like, I need you to find a child. He's associated with your mom somehow. I had a vision. It was a smaller child and they didn't know what they were. I need you to find that for me. And you're like, well, what if it's just him? Like, that was my first thought. I'm like, okay, this is an obvious detraction. It's gonna end up being him at the end. And then all this crazy shit starts happening around his sister, Chastity, I think her name was. Or maybe that's his other sister.
I don't know.
I don't remember. But they do this like whole thing where you're like, I know you're trying to get me to think it's the girl, but I don't think it is. And then eventually it gets to the point you were like, well, now you're trying real hard to make me think it's Credence, so maybe it is the little girl. And then right when you think it's the little girl, boom, 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 breaks like 8 walls, and Ezra Miller's character is just like standing there like freaking the fuck out, and you're like, oh no,
well, I mean,
he was totally the bad guy this entire time.
You're not gonna cast somebody who's the Flash.
Well, no, I think
as a side character.
It's his previous work where he plays like the dark, troubled individual. So I was like, oh, obviously he's gonna be the dark, troubled individual.
You're not gonna cast the dude from Perks of Being a Wallflower as a side character.
Yeah, he's supposed to be reoccurring.
Huh.
Even though the end of the movie is a little ambiguous about whether or not he's alive or not.
By the way, the girl's name's Modesty.
Modesty.
I looked it up.
Good. Awesome.
Google! This video is sponsored by Google.
I don't think
It's really not.
Yeah.
Sponsored by me.
It's sponsored by IMDb.
Maybe we can ask them. Hey, you got money.
Hashtag sponsored.
Yeah. But
you got more free money recently.
The part at the end where the wizards just like show up and shoot Credence on sight was like a not so subtle like America's being like gun happy and just shoot before you ask questions type of thing.
Well, they were super like weirded out and afraid of what he was because he was revealing the magic community.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, knock that shit off.
Which is weird, right? Because you go into that scene and you sympathize with the idea of like, we think regular humans are dangerous. So we're trying to protect ourselves. Even though we're the dominant species, if you compare the two, we can do all this crazy shit, but we're scared of them because they're ignorant and they get violent when they're ignorant. So you can appreciate that concept, right? And then you get to the end where they just murk. They just straight up everyone points their arm up with their wand and just blow the shit up out of Credence, right? And then it goes to the next scene where Graves is revealed to be Grindelwald, and he's like doing this whole speech of like, why are we hiding? We're the dominant people. This is stupid. And you kind of don't sympathize with Makusa. Because, like, you just murdered that dude. Why are you trying to be the moral superiority complex over here?
So, I get what you're saying. But I think this is a great way to kind of swing on into dumb North American wizardy things.
A lot of it?
Yes. And I'll let one of you explain it because you can do it better than I can.
What, Makusa or?
Like Makusa, just the dumb... Okay. I'll hop in here then. Never mind. The fact that we don't get muggles, we're no-mages.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, like, trying to differentiate the culture, so changing such, like, a coined term in language that they use to to let you know that, hey, we're not in England, or we're not in Europe anymore. Like, we have our own word. Makes sense. Like, I get what she was going for with it. But muggle is such an inconsequential word, even though it gets used so much, that there's no point in changing it, really. I mean, they're all coming from Europe, too, so at what point would they just transfer that word out?
Yeah.
Or what motivation would they have to get rid of that word?
It could be like just it could just be like slang. It could have been a derogatory term at one point. Just like, get out of here, you dirty nomad. That kind of thing that just got adopted into everyday life.
But
It sounds clunky though. Nomad. It feels like it takes more effort to say.
I don't want people to be mad at me, but so is mudblood.
Yeah, but mudblood is a legitimate, like, you don't use it that much, so it's not supposed to be like a slangy thing that you just use.
True.
Nomad it means the same thing as muggle. Like, they even say it in the movie. They're like, no, we say muggle in Europe. It's just like, yeah, why didn't you... This country was founded from people from Europe. Why would that word just drop?
I don't know. Maybe because they were trying to distance themselves from Europe in terms of, like, the Revolutionary War happened. We're our own people now.
Well, okay, tying into the war thing. The country itself was founded within wartime. Like, the Revolutionary War resulted in the country being formed.
Mm-hmm.
So then, for those people, especially in the background story, wizards were, I guess, like, targeted as well by these settlers, and that's where you get the Salem witch trials and all that other stuff, which is why the people in New York are called the Second Salemers, because they want another Salem. The witch trials, they're still scared of what witches and wizards can do. So that whole backstory of violence being so prevalent in the formation of the country, I get why they would have the statute of secrecy and be so worried about it, because it exists in all the other wizarding countries as well. They're just not, like, super worried about it. They're just like, all right, yeah, just obliviate them, like, no big deal.
I feel like the European wizarding community do a much better job of concealing themselves and taking care of, like, the muggles that do find out about it. I mean, there are, like,
Hermione's parents.
yeah, but there's, like the half-blood children, they have, mixed parents.
Right.
Which in America, it wasn't really a thing. It was like, no.
You don't do that.
Well, that was a question that I was interested in. It was presented by the movie because they're so against muggle and wizard relationships, or nomad and wizard relationships, that, like, what happens if, like, no wizarding family, like, they give birth to a wizard or a witch? Like, how does that work? Like, what do they do with that situation?
Obliviate the parents, the kid is now an orphan.
That's dark, man. Because,
like, I feel like if it was in Europe, the whole relationship between Queenie and Jacob could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, and they even touch on it in the movie, where
I think Newt's
like, you guys have rather backwards laws about muggle and wizard relationships.
Which
because
is
that's a totally okay thing.
Yeah, it's super like parallels the whole, like, interracial relationships, like the whole thing that we dealt with earlier and with the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was more or less what they were going for as well. Like, there's a lot of thinly veiled allegory to all the shit that was going down back then.
We've talked about the movie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the dumb North American wizarding society things, like wizarding community culture things. Going along with kind of the dumb North American wizarding culture, we started talking about Ilvermorny right at the beginning, and I said we'd come back.
Well, okay, I think it's unfair to say that it's dumb. I think the formation, or the story that J.K. created about it, was lazy. But getting past that, like, the idea of you go into this room, and it's like a circular,
and your
like,
statue
auditorium, right? And it has, like, the super raised ceiling, and all the previous students are on the balconies above you, and you step in, and it's almost like a spotlight, right? And then these statues have to react, and whichever one reacts, they're like they're asking you to be a part of their house. Is cool, especially because more than one of them can react to you, and then
that's how you get hat
and you
stalls.
can you can choose basically. Pickery, who was the president of MACUSA, it's very rare. I forget what the percentages was. I think J.K. released some sort of made up percentage about how often it happens, but all four react every once in a while to a student. And it's like that person's destined for great things. Pickery, the president in the movie, was a 4-turn. I forget which one she chose. I think it was Thunderbird. Pretty sure it's Thunderbird. But yeah, no, I like the idea of that. And then also the animals they chose are pretty cool. I thought the Puckwudgie was odd because it's not really an animal.
It's more of a like the.
It's like a house elf.
Yeah, or a goblin.
Or a goblin. Yeah, it's a mix between the two.
But like the whole like naming of it is like, oh, just pick your favorite animal, and then the nomad guy James was just like, I don't really know any animals, so I mean that guy's cool. How about name it Puckwudgie? It's like that was.
That was the only
kinda
one that
dumb.
I really I liked because it was based off a friend. Like that was a genuine relationship they had. So to name a house after him seemed like a genuine and smart thing to do. Same thing with the horned serpent because she met Iseult, that's her name. Remembered it. She met Horned Serpent while she was hiding out from her aunt, trying to find her and kill her. So those two things seem like
Yeah,
it made
there's a parallel
sense
there.
why she would have that.
The thing I didn't like, the thing that bugged me, was the creating, like the choosing of the colors for Ilvermorny.
I don't remember that part.
Like the whole thing about like, well, what color do you want to be? Like, what color do you, like, I think it's like the colors for the houses or something like that. And the nomad guy was like, well, my favorite kind of pie is this color, so we're going to go with
that's
it.
right.
Yeah,
And it's like, you goddamn nomad.
It's like, get out of here.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, like,
but
sure, it's funny,
No, I
but-
get what you're saying. Like,
This is serious business.
like to say something was chosen for such a like.
Like, he single-handedly just guaranteed, because I think it's the color of the house.
No, the whole school has the same colors.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The individual house is like your mascot, but the whole school has the same colors.
So that means on the international scale,
Mhm.
they just set up Ilvermorny to be like, well, we can't take you seriously. Your school is colored after pie.
In a way, I mean, it's a nice color. It was like cranberry. or
It's
something.
cranberry, but like the origin of it, I really like cranberry pie. Everybody's gonna be like, nobody likes you. One of your dudes is a nomad.
It's such a Hufflepuff way to name something.
So okay, so
Guys, I
what?
found the Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
So would Puckwudgies be like the equivalent of like a Hufflepuff?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Because
so.
that's
Well,
what I am.
So there's
They're like the
there's not
healers.
really a parallel because like the Hogwarts houses are based off like
Physical attributes.
no, not physical.
Or not
attributes.
physical,
It's
sorry.
like values that you relate to or you identify with. Like loyalty or like they're qualities that you appreciate.
Mhm.
Whereas Ilvermorny is like straight up just character qualities, like the way you act or the like if you're adventurous and you want to go out and you react first, or Puckwudgies they're kind and they have empathy
And they're
They're like
healers.
more of willing to heal. They have a connection to the type of magic that they would do. So I don't know. I think if you're gonna get upset and want to do the bullshit hybrid houses like they have,
This would be the best.
this would be the one because I think this one's more definitive of who you are as a person.
So you just, babe, you had said that you're a Puckwudgie.
Yes.
That's what you got sorted to.
Yep.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I feel like it describes me pretty well. I mean, with pretty much anything, like games or quizzes, I always identify with like the healer. I like playing healers in games. I'm more of a, I guess, defensive side of, if you're like in battle or whatever, I'd be defense. So I feel like it describes me pretty well.
You'd be a keeper.
A keeper.
I like that joke at the beginning. Are you a seeker, son? Nah, I'm more of a chaser, really.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a good one. I forgot about that.
It went over my head the first time I watched it too. The second time I watched the movie, I was like paying attention to the details more, just in case like I missed something. So for her to come up and be like, "Are you a seeker, son?" I was like, "Oh, hey, there's a joke there." And then, of course, he follows it up with the chaser line. I completely whiffed over my head. Didn't get it the first time.
So what Ilvermorny House did you get?
I got Horned Serpent, which is, I don't know. I guess if we're gonna try and relate it to the Hogwarts houses, would be the Ravenclaw equivalent. So the horned serpent, like I was talking about earlier, was a creature that Iseult ran into when she was hiding in the forests of Massachusetts, by the river, and she found she can communicate with him, and that's how she figured out she could communicate through parcel tongue. And I forget if he died, and then they plant a tree with his horn, and then they get the tree that most of the wands that you get at Ilvermorny.
Because that's where you get your wand.
Yeah, because Ilvermorny, they don't have like an Ollivander equivalent. Like, you get your wand when you come to school, and then when you go home, you leave your wand at school because of this statute of secrecy stuff we were talking about earlier. But yeah, I thought it was pretty nice. It's more of the clever, taking the logical approach to things. You're not quick to jump to things.
See,
And then
I
I think
liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought visually he's the coolest of the creatures, or the mascots, I should say.
Yeah, then it says here that the horned serpent is embodies the mind,
Yeah.
so it favors scholars. And
See.
then my puck wedgie, let me see, is heart. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
So, knowing both of you as well as I do,
Mm-hmm.
I would say you guys got sorted very well. I'm not sure how I feel about mine, to be completely honest.
You got the Gryffindor again.
Yeah, I got Wampus.
You double basic.
It embodies the body.
I don't
But
think
it's-
Wampus is really like a basic thing though, because
Yeah.
like the reason Gryffindor is so boring is
Because-
it's just the the intro house, like it's the one we get to see the whole time. It's nothing new.
Like, honestly, I think you're more of a Thunderbird because it's the soul and it favors adventurers. That sounds more like you.
Because the Wampus
It's warriors.
is warriors.
Right.
And my Hufflepuff comes out with loyalty.
Right.
And through loyalty, if it's time to throw hands for somebody, like stick up for somebody, I will. But that's not necessarily being a warrior.
No.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, again, the Ilvermorny houses aren't meant to be like direct parallels. Like, if you're a hardcore Ravenclaw, you're not automatically gonna get Horned Serpent. You can get something else.
So, like, I think I like what you're saying.
Hogwarts houses are based off values. Ilvermorny houses are based off actions. That's
this
how
is-
I would break it down.
And this is more of a complete, like, if you look at both of them together, it's more of a complete aspect of who you are.
I'd say, I mean, if you wanted to say it like that, I'm not sure I'd really try and compare the two much.
Well, I mean, if it's like, so, for me, I'll accept Wampus.
Right.
I'll accept it. So, combining Wampus with the fact that I was originally
Mhm.
sorted into Hufflepuff.
Okay. I know. I see what you're saying. I guess that's true.
So, like, for you, you're a Horned Serpent
Mhm.
and a Ravenclaw.
Makes sense.
I'm not saying
But we
that
have so we have the benefit though of, I mean, obviously it's fictional, so as a fan of the series, yeah, you can look at it like that. But if you were gonna put yourself in the universe, you would never have the option of knowing both. You choose the school and you go with it.
Very true.
So last one, we didn't talk about it last time, but Patronuses.
Yes.
Mhm.
Patronus.
Yes. Who wants to start it?
So I got a wild hare, which is like a rabbit of sorts, which is also the same Patronus as Luna Lovegood. And Luna Lovegood's one of my favorite characters, so I was pretty stoked about that. The only way it would have been better is if I got like a wolf for Lupin, because that would be dope. But that's a Tonks Patronus too.
And I got a red squirrel. Not really sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's not like something lame. Like, I don't know.
It's unique.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And it's cute.
Yep. And I got a sparrow.
Hey, Johnny Depp again.
Hey, more Johnny Depp. But I got a sparrow. I'll take it. Spirit of adventure and all.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, 3 quizzes, 3 complete.
Different
yeah, like a
answers.
more complete version of yourself if you want to keep going with that idea.
Mm-hmm. Last thing I need to do is I need to figure out what the hell my wand is, but that's for a different day. Last thoughts from anybody.
Okay, well, talking on Patronuses, because I mean, we pretty much just said what we got and we're just going to ditch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to go on.
So I think the results were really cool because there's a whole like compendium of every single result that you can get, and there's like a bunch of them, and each of them have like really high percentages. Like cats, super high. A couple dogs, like rabbit, the one I got's pretty high. But then there's like really cool ones that like very rarely do they come up. There's like a guy who's reported he's got an ancestral. There's a guy who's gotten a phoenix. Another guy got a dragon, which I think is weird because a dragon's not really like the type of creature that you would see as a patronus. Like most of them are all just like general animals. Yeah.
I could see the phoenix.
Well, yeah, Dumbledore's is the phoenix.
Yeah.
I wish mine were a phoenix. That'd be really cool.
Well, yeah,
Right?
it's a baller.
Okay, so I have 2 questions about patronuses.
Right.
The guy who got a thestral,
Right.
can other people see his patronus?
Again, it's not actually a thestral though.
It's just like the shape of it.
But do thestrals play by Weeping Angels from Doctor Who's rules of if it's an image of a thestral, it is a thestral?
I don't know, dude. I don't. That's hard. I would because it's one of those things where like if you can't see a thestral, you either have to see someone's sketch a thestral to know what it looks like, or maybe someone's patronus is a thestral, and that's how you get to know what a thestral looks like. Because if you don't know what a thestral looks like and they don't tell you that their patronus is a thestral, and then you see that, it's kind of the opposite effect of a patronus, right? Because that's scary as shit.
And the second one, if your patronus is a dragon, good luck using that in tight spaces.
Well, maybe it'll just scale down.
Like Baby Norbert.
Baby Norbert. You're just like, Patronus!
Well, actually, no, because nobody else's patronus is scaled down, right? All of them are based off
like
actual scale models of the creature they're supposed to be.
Like Harry's stag
Right.
is a big patronus.
Your sparrow would be so tiny, and be like,
My sparrow would be like the size of my hand,
if that.
if that.
Jeez, man.
So
I don't know how that works.
I'd be out here fighting Dementors with a sparrow.
Well, no,
I got a tiny fucking bird.
So your sparrow would be the point of origin, but then there's the rest of the spell around it.
I know, but think of that. Dementors are like, I'm a Dementor, and I'm like, get him, sparrow.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how that fight would go. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. It's just one of the. I'm stuck, like, because now I'm stuck thinking about that dragon conundrum, because I'm like, would you not then be able to, like, just because you're in a tight space, you just couldn't? You're like, guys, my Patronus is too big. I'm sorry, I can't help you.
So, like, let's say you had the Dragon Patronus, right?
Right.
We were getting just demolished. We needed your Patronus.
Right.
Nobody else could, for some reason, cast it.
Right.
And we're like, Malfoy, we need your Patronus. You'd be like, sorry, y'all, it's a dragon, not enough room.
Dude, we're in a very small room right now. Sorry, I'm capped out. I can't. If
Yo.
we were outside in like a field somewhere.
Can we pause and move this outdoors?
Yeah. Hey, Dementors, you want to take this outside or? Yeah.
1v1 me rust, bro. There's
Yeah.
enough room there.
Yeah. The specifics of our situation don't really lend to me doing well.
I feel like that limits your ability as a wizard.
Yeah, I feel like now that I think about it, having a dragon kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you could just, like, Patronus out a dragon.
Yeah. Unless it doesn't matter and we're just making it harder than it needed to be.
Right. Probably. Alright, well, again, if y'all stuck around this far, it did run longer than usual. Sorry, not sorry. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, let us know what your Patronus is, what your Ilvermorny House is, any sort of qualms you have with North American wizardry. What'd you think of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? I think the consensus is that we enjoyed the movie.
Is
yeah.
Redmayne a Hunksicle?
Is Eddie Redmayne a Hunksicle? My vote is no.
Your vote is no that he's not a Hunksicle?
That he's not a Hunksicle. He's adorable, but he's not a Hunksicle.
I agree.
What defines Hunksicle?
We will define a Hunksicle in the description. So click on down to the description. Let me know if he lines up as a Hunksicle for you.
And for those playing along with the drinking game, Hunksicle.
Hunksicle.
Y'all dead. Hunksicle.
Hunksicle.
Okay, so don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. You can even get us on Twitter. I've been forgetting to mention that. Babe, what's the Twitter?
At OSLT official. It'll be in the description.
It'll be in the description. Click through there to find us on Twitter. You can also find our personal Twitters on there if you want to holler at us. Malfoy's lame and doesn't have a Twitter,
I don't like Twitter.
but you can yell at me for him. Just put, like, #Malfoy.
That works.
Yeah, that way I can tweet. That way I can text him and be like, "Hey, people hate you on Twitter."
And I'd be like, sounds right.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, come on back next week. We'll keep talking about something. Probably not Harry Potter because I think we're pretty Harry Pottered out at this point. But it'll be something. We'll keep talking or something like that. Bye.